And we're back with the second part for the mansion. So in this part, we're going to be carrying on with the front of the building. So starting on the left hand side from the bottom left hand corner, we're just going to place 11 blocks out. After this, on top of the far left hand 3 blocks, we're just going to place an additional block on top. Then leaving a 2 block space next to this, just adding another 2 sandstone blocks. And lastly, leaving another 2 block space, just placing your last 2 sandstone blocks. But for all of the rows we placed a sandstone block on top of, you can go ahead and extend them all up another 6 blocks. So they should be exactly the same height as the rest of our sandstone wall. After this, we're going to do something slightly different to what we've done for the rest, and we're going to extend across the top 2 rows this time, instead of just the top row. Next, from the bottom right hand corner of the section we just extended out, you can just place an additional 8 more blocks out. And on the far left hand 2 rows, you can go ahead and extend them both up. But after this, on the far right hand block, just extending this row up as well. Then across the top row, just adding a sandstone row all the way across. So the last thing before we move on to the opposite side is you just need to add your 2 corner blocks at the top. But now, as I just mentioned, we're now going to come across to the right hand side and just mirror what we did on the left. So again, from the corner, just extending 11 blocks out. Then for the far right hand 3 rows, just placing 3 more blocks on top. After this, leaving a 2 block space, just adding 2 more blocks. And lastly, the same again, by leaving another 2 block space, and just adding 2 more blocks again. Next, you can go ahead and extend all of the rows up that we placed our sandstone on. Then for the top 2 rows again, just extending across your sandstone. After this, from the bottom left hand corner this time, we're just going to add an additional 8 more blocks out. So now on top of this, we just need to add the frame for the window. So starting from the far right 2 rows and just extending them up. Then doing exactly the same for the far left hand row as well. After we sleep, we just need to place our row across the top and then our 2 corner blocks. Now, as I mentioned, just adding your 2 corner blocks. So there you go, that's almost the bottom layer finished. The last thing we need to do is we just need to add our glass panes in all of the windows. So again, in all of the spaces that we've left, just filling it all with your glass panes. After you have filled in your windows, which can be placing a row of sandstone all across the top layer of our wall. So again, just extending your sandstone up by one more row. After this, using our spruce wood stairs in front of the top layer of our wall, which can be placing our stairs all the way across. But also, just a quick note, when you do get to a corner block, you will need to place an additional stair to join it up. So now, just to carry on doing this all the way around. Next, we're going to extend our sandstone up by one more row. So again, we're doing exactly the same as the sandstone layer we just placed, by just adding a row all the way across. Now that we've done the bottom section for the front of our building, we can start on the section directly on top of this. And for this, it's going to be exactly the same as the whole of the bottom layer, apart from on the centre section where we placed our doorway. But we are going to start off with a section that's different, so we can speed up the rest. To begin with then, on the far left hand block above our doorway, we're going to place one sandstone block. Then on the right hand side of this, leaving a 1 block space, just adding another sandstone block. But after this, leaving a 2 block space this time, we're going to place another 2 blocks. But the 2 blocks after this are going to be exactly the same as on the opposite side. So again, just mirroring what we placed by leaving a 2 block space and just placing 1 block, and then leaving another block space and just placing your last sandstone block. So for all of the blocks we placed our sandstone on top of, you can just extend them up another 5 blocks. After this, directly on top of all of the rows we extended up, you can just place a sandstone row all the way across. So we're almost finished with this front section, but to finish off, we just need to add our upside down stairs. So starting in the outside 2 rows, we're just going to place an upside down stair facing inwards. But for the 2 wide spaces that we've got left, you just need to place a sandstone stair in both the corners. The last thing we need to do for this centre section is we just need to extend back the 2 outside rows. So again, just extending them back 3 blocks on either side. And also remembering to extend them both up so they're exactly the same height as the wall next to this. So that's the left hand side done. Now to just do the right hand side. So now that we've done the centre section above our doorway, the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be placing our windows next to this. So for all the windows on this floor, they are going to be exactly the same as the windows we've placed directly underneath. Also in the background now, I have added an image so you can see what it's going to look like once we have placed all of our windows for the upstairs. But to start off with, we're just going to come across to the far left hand side of the building, where we're just going to place our first window. So again, for all of our windows, we're just going to be mirroring the window underneath. So as you can see, we're starting off by placing 7 high on the outside 2 rows, and then just adding our row across the top with our 2 corner blocks. Now to just place our row across the top and our 2 corner blocks. Now that we've done the frame for that window, we're just going to carry on and do the rest of the windows for this floor. So for this bit, I am going to be speeding it up, as again, all we're doing is placing our upstairs windows and remembering to mirror what we've placed underneath. So there you go, that's all of our windows placed. the last thing we need to do for this part is we just need to fill in all of the remaining windows with our glass panes. So there you go, that was the last thing we're going to do for this part. In the next part, we're going to be carrying on with the exterior, but instead of working on the front, we're going to be working on the sides of the mansion.